Here's the 10 best Wonder Kids in Football Manager 2023, along with how much you can buy them for at the start of the game and what they could look like in 10 years' time. In at number 10 is Eduardo Camavinga. This 19-year-old French spirited Wonder Kid is one of the best defensive midfield prospects in the game. He has a potential ability range from 150 to 180, meaning he could spawn in your save anywhere in that margin, 200 being the absolute Leo Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Pele levels. You can get Camavinga for £68 million at the start of the game. We simulated the game for 10 years and Camavinga really has been developed exquisitely. He's played 20 to 30 to 40 games per season, every single season for 10 years, getting goals and assists along the way, and this is what he's turned out like. A 29-year-old, spirited personality, described by the media as a legendary midfielder. Look at those stats: strength 17, stamina 17, he's got pace, acceleration, his physicals are just insane. His mentals are so good, and look at this: technique 17, tackling 15, passing 16, marking 16. He's on 180 out of 180 potential ability here, so this is the best you could possibly get him. Looking underneath the bonnet, we can see he relishes big matches, is a consistent performer, and is a spirited individual as well. What a player. In at number 9 is Pedri. This 19-year-old Spanish fairly professional Wonder Kid will cost you a lot of money at the start of the game, £114 million to be exact. He has a fixed potential ability of 176, which is really very good. Pedri stayed at Barcelona in our simulation for the full 10-year period. He played 30 plus games almost every single season, so as you would expect, his numbers, or his attributes rather, are insane. Technically, mentally, and physically, absolutely dominating. He's 29 years old here in 2032 and is a fairly professional, legendary attacking midfielder. Looking underneath the bonnet, we can see consistent performer, enjoys big matches, fairly adaptable when it comes to living in another country, and handles himself in a fairly professional manner. In at number 8, Warren Zaire-Emery. You can pick this 16-year-old French fairly determined defensive midfielder Wonder Kid up for about 35 million quid at the start of the game. That is a bargain. He has a potential ability range from 160 to a massive 190. In our 10-year simulation, Warren Zaire-Emery hasn't been developed that well at all by his club, Paris Saint-Germain. He stayed at the club for the entire 10-year period, but he hasn't been given, in my opinion, enough game time to develop yet into his true self. Yes, in 2023 he got 25 games, and in 2024 he got 19 games, but every other season after that he's got almost less than 10 games in every single season. That is not enough to develop your young players. That being said, he's still got time. Here in 2032, he's still just 25 years of age, and he could move from his 145 current ability, which he's sitting on here, to the 190, which he has the potential of getting to, and if he does get to, you will see these attributes improve markedly. Looking underneath the bonnet, however, we can see that he's a fairly consistent performer and a spirited individual, which are two great. In at number 7, Youssoufo Moukoko. This 17-year-old German light-hearted striker Wonder Kid will set you back just £54 million at the start of the game. Now, I personally think that's one of the best value Wonder Kid propositions in the game this year. He also has a variable potential ability of between 160 and 190. In our 10-year simulation, Moukoko has been developed very well, playing at Borussia Dortmund for 7 years, getting 30 plus games in almost every season and scoring a bag load of goals. He then moves to Newcastle United for £106 million and looks like an absolute beast. Physicals through the roof with acceleration 17, agility 19, stamina, pace and strength all 16. He's got composure of 20, anticipation of 16, but look at that holy trinity in the technicals: dribbling 18, finishing 18 and first touch 19. What a guy. Described here as a fairly professional elite striker, the scout report tells us that he has hidden attributes of consistency, enjoying big matches and professionalism. go and sign this guy. He's amazing. Ansu Fati, the 19-year-old Spanish Barcelona wonder kid, you can pick him up for 59 million quid. That is such a good deal. He's got a variable potential ability of 160 to 190 as well. He's a spirited personality, right-footed winger with speed and technique for days. Ansu Fati in our simulation has, you would expect, has had plenty of games. 30 plus games almost every single year for 10 years and stayed at Barcelona for his entire career. His stats are absolutely phenomenal. Let's start on the technicals because they're just insane. Crossing 16, dribbling 18, finishing 18 and first touch 16. Technique 17, moving on to the mentals, 20 flair. What a guy, right? Acceleration, agility, balance, natural fitness, pace. There's nothing this guy can't do. He's 29 here, described as a spirited and legendary winger. Of course he is. Look at those stats. Underneath the bonnet, we can see relishes big matches, spirited individual, can adapt well to living in another country, and is a very consistent performer. Staying at Barcelona, Gavi, the 17-year-old Spanish resolute wonder kid, will cost you about 60 million quid at the start of the game. That is insane value if you ask me. He's got a variable potential ability again of the same 160 to 190. In 10 years time, if developed well, Gavi absolutely blossoms. We can see in this simulation he's had the opportunity to do just that. 30 plus games in every single season in the next 10 years for this guy, scoring goals, getting assists and having an average rating in the league of 7.24. Staying at Barcelona, the same as Fati for the entire time. Look at those stats. In 2032, this 27-year-old world-class resolute personality midfielder has mentality stats, the likes of which I've never really seen before. 17 aggression, 17 anticipation, bravery 16, composure 18, decisions 18, determination 16, flair 16. But he's no slouch when it comes to physicals and technicals as well. He's insane. Looking underneath the bonnet, of course, we can see enjoys big matches, fairly adaptable when it comes to living in another country, consistent performer and resolute characteristics. In at number 4 is Jude Bellingham. Now you'll have to spend upwards of £100 million to get your hands on one of the best wonder kids in the game this year. He's got a variable potential ability again of 160 to 190 and just look at him. He's so good. And only 19, don't forget. Jude Bellingham obviously started off his career in Birmingham before moving to Borussia Dortmund for 25 million. In this Football Manager simulation, he then went to Arsenal in 2025 for a free transfer. He's played 30 plus games every single year of his life, and he scored 10 goals in 2030 and 10 goals in 2027 from a defensive midfield position, I assume. And look at his stats here in 2032. He's 28 years old. He's described as a legendary perfectionist midfielder, and his numbers are just through the roof, physically, mentally, and technically as well. Arsenal are first in the Premier League, incidentally, in this simulation, and with Bellingham as their captain, won the league in 2030-31 with 84 points. In at number 3, Bukayo Saka. Bukayo, I always say that wrong. Bukayo Saka. He's got a potential ability that's fixed at around 183, I believe it is. Let's double check that. 182, which guarantees for me that he's going to be one of the best players in the game in your save in a few years' time. Saka in this save has a loyalty attribute of 14 out of 20, which of course means he has stayed with Arsenal for the entire 10-year simulation here, playing almost every single game for his club, scoring double-figure goals on numerous occasions. 2024, 2027 and 2028 season. Absolutely insane stats from the 30-year-old Bukayo Saka here. Physically dominating, mentally dominating and technically dominating. Described by the media in the twilight of his career as a professional and legendary winger. Reports-wise, we can see that Bukayo Saka's hidden attributes suggest that he relishes big matches and is a consistent performer as well. Of course he is. Did I call him Bukayo Saka? It's Bukayo Saka. I always do that. In at number 2, Jamal Musiala, this 19-year-old resilient personality German wonder kid, could be grabbed for around 78 million quid at the start of the game. Now, I don't think that's too bad considering you're getting yourself the second best young player in the game, essentially. He's got a fixed potential ability of 185 out of 200. Huge. Jamal Musiala stayed at Bayern Munich for the entire 10-year simulation and played a lot of games. He scored double-figure goals in every single season. Absolutely insane output from this guy. In terms of attributes here in 2032, 28-year-old German, model citizen, an elite attacking midfielder, dribbling 18, first touch 16, technique 19, flair and determination both 18. Insane. He relishes big matches, is a consistent performer, and is a true model citizen. In at number 1 is the 15-year-old Brazilian wonder boy, Endrick. Buy him for around £62 million at the start of the game, although he has just signed for Real Madrid, so it might not be like physically possible straight away. He's got a variable potential range of 170 to 200. That is Leo Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Pele, Zinedine Zidane, Diego Maradona levels of hype. Endrick moved to Real Madrid in the 2024-25 season and didn't play a single game for 3 seasons in a row. That is exactly how not to develop the best wonder kid in Football Manager. Don't do this. He then moved on loan in 2025 to Levante, where he played 30 games, which is good, and then back to Real Madrid, where he played 17 games, and then 24, 26 and 21. He moved to Bayern Leverkusen for 50 million, and they only played him 7 times in 2029, and then in 2030 he played 30 games, and 2031 he played 20. This means that Endrick, at 25 years old, is only sitting on a current ability of 165 out of the potential 200 that he could possibly have. But even with that room for growth left, he's still absolutely insane. Acceleration, agility, balance all 16 and 17, as well as natural fitness and pace. Composure 16, anticipation 16, off the ball flair. He's got free kick taking 16, and he's described as a fairly professional striker. He could be so much better. He's only got 1 cap for Brazil. Reports wise, we can see fairly consistent performer, adaptable when it comes to living in another country, and handles himself in a fairly professional manner. Guys, here's your shortlist: player names, clubs, asking price, potential and current ability. Do hit the like button. Please hit subscribe if you are new. And if you want to download this and all of the shortlists that we've ever done, hit the join button down below or become a patron, link in the video description. Peace.